What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Grow with Breeze. In this video, we're going to be going over exactly what you need to do to build your own website on Weebly. Now, if you want to get some more information about Weebly and some of the benefits and drawbacks of using this particular web hosting platform, definitely check out our full review of the platform on the channel. In addition to that, we do have our affiliate link in the video description where you can see the latest pricing, deals, and promotions, as well as get started with Weebly yourself. So let's get into it. So we are on Weebly's website right now. What we're gonna do is go to the sign up section on the top right corner. Now this is what you're gonna do when you're just getting started. I already have an account, so I'm gonna be going into the sign in section instead. And if you already have an account for one reason or another, then this is where you're gonna go to log in. So this is the screen you're gonna see when you log on for the first time. You really have two options here. The first one is for if you just wanna get the website going. Nothing really fancy, just get it set up. The second one, I need a website with an online store, is more geared towards e-commerce. So if you wanna create the website with the main purpose of selling things and using all those tools, you might wanna choose this, but really, you can just start with the basic parts of the website and then go to the e-commerce stuff later once you get everything set up. That's how I personally would do it, but you can do it however you want. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm gonna be doing I just need a website, so we can just go over the basics of how to use the platform. Once you select your option, you're gonna be taken to the themes. Here, you're gonna be able to choose from about 70 different themes. There are different categories too to help a little bit with organization. Whether you're creating a website for a business, something personal, maybe like a wedding website or something, or an event, that can work too, blogs, all kinds of different things. I definitely recommend really looking into these themes because they can help you a lot with the setup. Every different website is gonna have its different needs. And to help you really decide if a theme is for you, you're actually able to click on the theme itself and go through the little sample website to see if it's really gonna work out for you. So definitely take your time in doing this and looking at all the options available. You can also change your theme as you're building your website, and I will be showing you how to do that a little later. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm gonna choose this burger place. Seems pretty simple. So once you find a theme you like and decide this is the one you wanna use, you're gonna go to start editing in the top right corner, and we can get started. So once you select your theme, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is add your domain. If you have a domain already, you can also transfer it using this link right here. But for this tutorial, we're gonna be searching for a new domain. When you do that, you're gonna be checking the availability first. Let's call this Burgers with Breeze. And that one is available, so we're gonna select this. And this is gonna take you to a few different plans you can choose for it. It ranges from personal at $6 a month to performance at $26 a month. And there are a few different features, so I definitely recommend looking into these, as well as watching our full review of Weebly on the channel, so you can get all the details and really get a good sense of which plan works best for you. And of course, we also have our affiliate link in the video description when you're ready to get started with that. But definitely keep in mind that each plan does have its own different purposes, so be aware of yours. Now you also have an option to use the website without a domain. Now I don't recommend this if you are using the website for professional purposes. There are some reasons where you could get away without using your own domain. Maybe it's a school project, something like that, where you just need to make a little blog for something you're doing. Or maybe it's a website for the registry of a wedding or a party or birthday thing, something like that, where you really don't need it to be super presentable and businesslike. Then I could see you doing the free version, because it doesn't really make sense to have it really professional when you're just using it for an event. This is just a one-time kind of personal thing. But keep in mind, if you don't use a domain, if you do just use the free version of the platform, you are gonna get square ads on the website itself, and it's gonna say your name.weebly.com, which is not very professional looking at all, so keep that in mind. So now that we've gotten all of that taken care of, I'm gonna go through a few key points that I think are really important to know in the builder section of this website, and we'll go from there. So when you're on any old website, do you ever get lost and want to go back to the home page? Well, that's what this little part right here is for, where it says my site. Here you're actually able to edit it to say whatever you want it to say. I recommend using your business's name. So for example, this website is for Burgers with Breeze, so we're gonna put that there. So now whenever somebody's navigating through the site, say they're on a different page and they want to go back to the home page, they can just click this and it'll take them back. Now you can also use a company logo, which I personally think is really cool. I do recommend doing that if you have it. Here you'll be able to upload a logo from your computer and it'll work in the same fashion. One cool thing about Weebly that's kind of similar to Wix, but not quite, is the way everything is laid out. It's more of a grid system, whereas Wix is more just kind of random. You drag and drop things, put it wherever. But with Weebly, it's a lot easier to use. As you can see here, you don't just randomly put something somewhere. You actually have set locations. And if you ever want to edit it, for example, this text right here, you can do that. So really editing any type of element on your page on Weebly is super easy. All you need to do is just click on it. It's gonna actually gray everything out and focus in on just that so you can see it easier. It really makes it simple to edit. You can edit the background, for example, and change it to whatever picture you want. You can also add some cool scrolling effects. I'm personally a big fan of parallax scrolling. I always thought that adds a neat modern texture to it, but definitely play around with this kind of thing and really personalize it to make it your own. When there are buttons, you can change the destination of the button and all that kind of thing really easily. You can also move things around, no problem. Now say you want to add an element to the website. That's super easy with Weebly. The drag and drop system is really simple. For example, I'm going to add some text. So let's go to the toolbar, grab the text, drag it onto the page, and now you can edit the text. Now say there's an element on the site that you don't care for, you're not happy with, you just want to do away with it. It's super easy to delete anything you want by just simply clicking the X in the top right corner of any element, and then it'll go away. You can do that with anything you add to the site, really easy. Now, a couple really important elements when it comes to designing your website and really making it look how you want it to are spacers and dividers. So a spacer is essentially exactly what it sounds like, just a blank space on your page to help you set things up so your elements sit exactly where you want them to on the site. For example, let's take a look at this spacer right here. You can change the size of it. And of course, if you take it out, the elements below it are going to move up. There's also what's called a divider. Dividers, really similar to spacers, help you better position things on your site. For example, we're gonna put the divider right here, and that's gonna give us this little empty column right here where you can add another element, and it's gonna help you make the layout a little bit easier to read, or you can get creative with it. There's really a lot you can do with these elements, and if you ever wanna delete them, again, just click the X in the top right corner of the element, and it's gonna go away. A couple things you can really do if your website is for a business and you have a product that you really want to showcase is add a gallery or a slideshow. These are some really cool elements where you can add a bunch of images of your products or your business itself if it's a brick and mortar thing to really give the people who visit your website a better idea of what your product or your business itself looks like. So we're going to add a gallery here. And all you need to do to edit your gallery is click on it, and you're gonna be able to upload whatever pictures you want from your computer. The slideshow works basically the same way. You can choose how you want the slideshow to look. You got 6 different options here. Once you choose it, you're gonna be able to upload all the pictures you wanna include in the slideshow from your computer, and from there, it should be pretty straightforward. You can add all different types of media to your website. Maybe you want to include a YouTube video where you do a tour of your business or show off your product, something like that. You can add documents, audio, any type of file you want that's going to enhance your website and give people who visit it a better idea of what your site is all about. Another thing I think is really useful is a contact form. Contact forms are great ways to build a marketing list and get better leads so you can reach out to them in the future. And of course, like pretty much everything on Weebly, it's really easy to edit and really easy to set up too. So if you have a brick and mortar business that has a physical location, I would recommend adding a map to your website, like this one right here. You can edit the address and put the exact location, and if you want to get real fancy with it, you can go to advanced location and put the exact coordinates. Now, I don't know that this part is absolutely necessary, but using a map with the address of your business to give your potential customers an idea of where you're at is a good idea, because if they know where you are, I feel like they're more likely to go to your business and check it out. Now right here in the toolbar, we have our e-commerce section. I'm not gonna get too in depth on e-commerce in this video. This is more a tutorial for beginners about the basic structure of Weebly and how you set up your site. After all, this example site is a burger place. Not a whole lot of room for e-commerce stuff on this type of website to begin with. But if you do wanna set up e-commerce on your website, this is where you're gonna go for it. It's super easy to drag and drop pretty much everything. And at the end of the day, it's really straightforward as Weebly designed it to be. At the bottom here, we have some more advanced tools. We have stuff like Google AdSense. If you are registered with them, you can easily set it up through here. Maybe your site isn't quite something where you sell stuff. Maybe it's more of an informational thing. Especially for stuff like blogs, this is a really good way to sort of monetize your website without really having to sell stuff, and is definitely a cool thing to look into. You can also add a cookie opt-out if you do have ads on your site. Always a good idea. And then of course we got the social icons, a block quote, that's always a good one. You can use these to really personalize your site and give it a more professional appearance. And I like how Weebly differentiates block quotes from actual text. It formats it a little different and gives it a better aesthetic appearance. So we've gone over a little bit about how to edit a page on your website, but what if you want to add a new one? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Really simple process. All you need to do is go to the pages section and hit this little plus here, and you're gonna be able to add a page. It's gonna ask what kind of page you want. You can choose from a standard page, which is basically a blank slate. You can make it whatever you want. You can make a blog page, a category page, products if you want to do e-commerce, external page, or a non-clickable menu. They're all really useful depending on what you're trying to do with your website. Now, as you might have guessed, in the pages menu, you're gonna be able to see all of your pages, and not only that, but you'll be able to control the options on them too. So for example, let's go to the About section. You can play around with the headers, visibility, SEO settings, and one thing that I think is really cool that you can do with these settings is hide in navigation. Now, when you do this, visitors can't access this page from the website unless they're specifically linked to it. So it gives you some flexibility in the way you're able to set up the pages on your website. Now that we've gone over the build section and the pages section, we're gonna take a look at some of the other things on Weebly's editor. So the next thing I wanted to go over is the theme section. Now, if you remember in the beginning of this video, I did mention that we can change the theme of the site while we're actually editing. So when you choose a theme in the beginning, you're actually not stuck with that. All you need to do once you're in the theme tab is go to change theme, and you're gonna be able to go right back to the theme gallery where you started and choose a different theme if you ever want to. This can be kind of cool if you decide that the theme you chose isn't really working out for you and you just want to start over. You can also change the fonts. Now, I definitely recommend not going too crazy with these, because if you have a bunch of different fonts, it gets confusing and unpleasant to the visitor. So I would recommend sticking with only one or two really good readable fonts so you can maintain a simple, easy to read type of format for your website. You can also change the theme between light and dark, depending on your preference. But again, especially when it comes to darkness, be sure you're making your website as easy to read as possible, because sometimes with the wrong text, a dark theme might get a little hard for some people. The app section is a place where you can find more specialized tools that you might need depending on what your website is for. You can get everything from stuff like a social media stream to a table, and all kinds of other different things. And Weebly really does have a super extensive variety of different apps you can use for your website. So while you're building yours, I definitely recommend checking this out and seeing if there's anything in here that you might be able to use to make your website even better. This is the settings section, pretty straightforward. Right here, we got the general settings, name of the website, category, all that kind of thing. Here we have SEO. You can use this section to better optimize your website for searches so it'll come up easier and people can find your website without any trouble. The editors tab is if you have multiple different people updating your website and working on it, you can add them here and make it a lot easier for them to get in. Now, members is a spot for if you have members on your website. There are lots of different reasons this could be the case. It really just depends on your situation. But if you do have to manage membership things on your website, this is where you're going to go for that. My Apps is basically an easy way to manage stuff from the App Center once you get it installed on your website. And then if you actually have a blog section on the website, then this is where you're going to go to manage the blog. This isn't going to make sense for every website to have, but depending on your purpose, I definitely recommend taking a look and seeing if it's right for your business or your brand or whatever you're doing, because it's a good way to engage with the people who might be visiting your website. Plus, you'll be able to share this kind of thing on social media, so it could raise some more awareness for your website as well. If you're ever having problems with your website, which hopefully you never will, but in case it comes up, Weebly's support section is right here under help if you ever need to contact anyone. So now that I've given you a tour of Weebly's website editor, I'm going to show you what the dashboard looks like. Through the dashboard, you're going to have access to not only your website that you're currently building, but all of your other ones and a lot of other different tools as well. All you need to do is hit this little X right at the top left of your website editor, and it's going to close it out and bring you to the dashboard where it's going to give you an overview of your Weebly account. As you can see here, you're going to be able to look at all your different websites you have with Weebly and add a new one if you want. When you have a website selected, you can go to the overview where you can see all kinds of different information about it. You can set up your domain, you can publish your website. You get some information about the e-commerce section under orders, fulfillment. There's a lot of different things you can look at. Under marketing, you're going to be able to manage things like email lists, ads. If you have Facebook ads, if you have like a Facebook pixel or something like that, you'll be able to see abandoned shopping carts, information on your sales, and really so much more. So if you are planning on using your website as an e-commerce store, and that's going to be one of your main functions of the site, I would definitely recommend familiarizing yourself with the dashboard, because this is where you're going to get a lot of the more important information about the site as far as e-commerce goes. So one more thing I'm going to show you is a really common mistake that people make. I know this because I've made it myself plenty of times. When you're editing your website, you can have it looking real nice and everything, but then once you go to look at it on a mobile device, it looks completely awful. That happens to everybody. I know that from experience. So I'm going to show you how to avoid this. So we're back in the editor right now, and all you need to do is go up here to the top bar, right next to the help section. This is the device switcher. You're going to hit this and change it to mobile view. And now you're going to be able to see exactly what your website looks like on a mobile device. So this way you can make sure that it's going to look all presentable. And I definitely would recommend looking at the mobile view every time you make a change to your website, even if it's just a little one. It only takes a few minutes and it's really worth it, because you don't want your website looking completely awful on a mobile device, especially since nowadays I feel like the vast majority, if not at least a really good amount of people viewing any website for that matter, are going to be viewing it on a mobile device. You don't want to ruin the experience for such a large portion of your potential visitors. So I would definitely recommend checking this over and making sure everything looks all good. This does bring me to one thing that I'm not a huge fan of about Weebly, and that's that you can't edit the website from mobile view, so it can get a little bit tricky to actually fix some of your issues when they come up on this. Now, luckily, the system that Weebly has, it's more of a grid system like I mentioned before, and it's not just randomly dragging and dropping things to different places on the site. So it's not awful, and usually there's not going to be any problem with the mobile view. But if there is, it can get a little annoying to have to constantly be changing things on the desktop view and then going back to the mobile view to look at it and make sure it's changed. Definitely not a big fan of that. But surprisingly, it's pretty unlikely that you're even going to have any problems with the mobile view because of how simple Weebly's setup is. But again, definitely just double check it with the mobile view, because it's really worth it if there's a mistake you don't know about. Now, the last thing I'm gonna show you is really simple, and that is when you've edited everything on your website, when you're ready to publish it, everything is all good to go, you've double and triple checked it all, make sure everything's working properly, you're gonna wanna publish it. And to publish it, all you need to do is go to this top right corner that says publish and hit this. And remember, whenever you make a change to your website, you're gonna have to publish it again. So don't forget to do that when you're updating things. But that was a quick tutorial on how to create and set up your own website using Weebly. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you found this tutorial useful as well. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next Grow with Breeze video.